So in the previous video, I showed you how a Mindstudio AI workflow can help automate the posting of LinkedIn content so that you can save hours and consistently build up a marketing presence online. If you haven't seen that video, I would highly recommend you go and watch it first, as we will be making several references to that video in this build today. To create a new AI workflow in Mindstudio using the agent builder, what you need to do is go over to the bottom left corner, select Generate Agent. It will now bring you into a chat window where you can prompt it and tell it what you want it to do. So let's go ahead and start building. Now I have prepared the prompt ahead of time and I'm going to put it in section by section whilst going through them with you. Now, first and foremost, the most important thing that you have to specify or tell this agent is to tell it what you want it to do. So I want an AI agent that creates LinkedIn post. I am then going to give it a series of steps as a guidance as to how I want the workflow to be carried out. So over here, I'm going to post some guidance. It all starts with an intake form, which is the brief that we went through, and then a series of steps that AI has to, the system has to follow. And I also mentioned that there is an approval workflow that's needed in the process. If it's approved, then it posts it directly to LinkedIn. And if it's not, then the user is able to refine the post. So that is the rough guidance as to how I want the structure to follow, or the steps that I want it to follow. And then I'm going to add some rules almost towards the end, saying to make sure that the text of the post is formatted correctly, because what I found on my previous tries is that if I didn't specify that, the text that will show up in the final LinkedIn post will not be formatted correctly, and the spacings just wouldn't be reflected in the post. So I made sure to include that as well, so that the AI accounts for it when building the system out. Now, at the very end, I'm going to give it some more context, which will guide the system prompt in general. This is more information about what we do as a company, and it's very crucial to provide this in this context, because it will then allow the AI to generate a post that is representative of the offerings that we offer and also the things that we specialize in, right? So I'm going to hit send. And now what AI is going to do is that it's ingesting all of this message in there. It's going to think whether or not there are any ambiguity. And if there are, it's going to ask for clarification. But if there aren't any ambiguities, then it will go ahead and create a draft spec for review. So as you can see, it's come up with a few logic there earlier, but it didn't particularly flag anything that required further clarification. So it has skipped that step completely, and it's now on to speccing the draft of the system itself. So let's give it a moment to spec the system. Okay, so it just spent the last couple minutes generating a proposal for this agent, and it's gone ahead to ask us to review the proposal so that we make sure everything is in order before giving it the green light to build the entire system. So at the very start of the proposal, it has a short description of what it does, and it has also said what it will include in the system prompt. And over here, which is the most detailed part of the proposal, is the suggested workflow. So it tells us exactly how it's going to build it from step one all the way to the very end, right? And it's also included the variables over here for reference. And now that we have glanced through this, we are going to give it the green light to build it. Of course, with this window over here, similar to when we were giving feedback on the LinkedIn post, we can also provide input or feedback in terms of refining this draft proposal. So we are free to type whatever over here if we see anything that requires changes. But in this particular case, we're happy with it and we're just going to go ahead and build it. So I'm going to click build. And now the agent goes ahead and build the entire system based on the reviewed draft that we have just saw earlier. It's going to take a few minutes again, so I'm going to fast forward this bit as well. In just 3 minutes, it was able to create the entire system without any errors. So let's go ahead and open the agent to inspect the work that it has done. Although the system did not run into any error when it created this workflow over here, just at first glance, I can see an issue with this workflow already. As you can see, the flow follows the same path as the workflow that I presented to you earlier, but there is these two additional modules over here which are a bit redundant. If we go into it, you can see that it brings the jump module essentially brings you into a sub workflow within this main workflow, and you can see it's not really mapped correctly. It says it's invalid workflow. But there is main one.workflow, which represents this sub workflow over here. And if we go inside, there is actually nothing configured within it. So this is likely an error or a mistake that the agent had come up with whilst building this. So we're going to go ahead and fix this. So very simple, we're just going to delete these two redundant modules. Yes, and delete, yes. And we're going to connect these up directly. So we have the generate image module, and then if you remember, we generated a preview based on the image and the post. And then it goes through an approval gate over here. And then upon accepting it, it goes straight to LinkedIn. But if on rejection, it calls out this checkpoint where, if you remember, there was this window where we were able to message the system itself to refine the final post. So now the last thing we need to do really is just map the flow upon approval. So you can see here, this module over here allows us to chat with AI to refine the LinkedIn post. And on approval of that, we want the refined post to be regenerated in a preview for us to review. And if everything looks good, then it goes through the approval gate and we approve it, and then it goes back to the LinkedIn, which will then automatically post the final version on LinkedIn. Now, as you can see, I think this is a brilliant demonstration on how AI is not perfect. At the end of the day, it's based on predictive models, which means that the output that you get is not always certain. But what is certain about this is that it's able to create a system that is 95% there, and all it took is for us to look at the whole system, make a few tweaks and changes, and then it is working as intended. Now let's test that this system is indeed performing as intended. By doing that, we are going to open the draft agent. We're going to blitz through the entire process just to have a sanity check that the system is indeed working correctly. I'm going to use the test values for this questionnaire. I'm going to hit submit, and hopefully the system should ask me a series of follow-up questions like before. The number of questions that it may ask may be different from before because the settings could have been changed. So now it's generating the post based on our inputs. It's generating an image prompt that reflects the post, and then it's going to generate an image by using the prompt that it's just generated. Now, up to this point, as you can see, the steps are almost identical as before, bar a few minor differences in how the brief intake form was formatted. So at this point, it is generating a preview for us to see the post, the draft post, and the image for us to review. And this is exactly the same as before. Now, we can see the rendered preview over here, and whilst there are subtle changes in perhaps the font or the color of the preview itself compared to the first model in which I demoed, the functionality of it remains largely the same. It starts with an image that has been generated by the post, and also the draft text for us to review. So I'm going to click continue. And we also arrive at this checkpoint like before. We could either refine it or we can approve and publish it. I'm going to refine it and see where that takes me. Right now, I'm being brought into this window over here, exactly the same as before, where we have the option to type our feedback in order to refine this post further. But for the purpose of this demonstration, I am not going to do that. I'm just going to run through with the workflow, continue, and I am now going to approve and publish the post. Interestingly, we are now met with a new agent checkpoint, which wasn't here before. We are being prompted to review the final post, select an account, and give it the final green light before it gets published on LinkedIn. Now, this is a perfect example to highlight the quirk of AI itself. Because AI is unpredictable in nature and it runs on probability, you can see that we gave the agent, or in the agent builder, the exact same prompts to build the system out, but how it arrived at the final solution varies from builds to build. But I just want to mention that although the steps that it might have taken to arrive at the end goal would have been different, but the results or the end goal would stay largely the same. So I'm going to hit approve. And now we're going to go back to LinkedIn to check the post that has been created. As you can see now, the post came through nicely through LinkedIn, and you can see the formatting is perfect. The hashtags are coming through, and the image is posted over here as well. So yeah, exactly the same end results. The system that I've just demonstrated was executed entirely on Mindstudio with integrations to LinkedIn for posting. There are also a wide range of other apps you can link this AI workflow to. And one good example for that to enhance the overall process is Smartsheet. Smartsheet is a work management tool that allows teams to collaborate effectively. A key feature relevant to our example today is the built-in approval workflow. Now, in this context, you can link this AI system to Smartsheet so that a manager can be looped in the final approval process before it gets published onto LinkedIn. Start building your AI workflows now using Mindstudio. You can use our referral code linked below. My name is Elvin from Blue Precision Technologies. We are an AI expert and also a solution partner of Mindstudio. If you need help adopting AI at scale for your business, feel free to contact us. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.